Most people have heard the same advice for years. If you want better sleep, keep pets out of the bed. And from a traditional sleep hygiene point of view, that advice makes sense. A 2024 study found that co-sleeping with pets was linked with poorer perceived sleep quality and greater insomnia severity in adults, especially for people sleeping with dogs. At the same time, other reporting on this growing area of research notes that many owners still describe emotional benefits like comfort, security, and reduced loneliness. In other words, sleeping with your dog may not always improve sleep quality on paper, but it can deeply affect how the night feels emotionally. PMC, and maybe that is why this topic matters so much. Because letting your dog into your bed is not just a sleeping arrangement. It becomes a ritual, a quiet agreement at the end of the day. The light goes off, the world slows down, and your dog chooses to settle beside you. That choice may look ordinary after a while, but emotionally, it can be profound. Your dog is most vulnerable when asleep. So when they curl close, stretch out beside you, or rest where they can feel your warmth and hear your breathing, they may be doing more than getting comfortable. They may be participating in one of the deepest bonding rituals the two of you share. And that changes something in both directions. For humans, co-sleeping with a dog can affect movement awakenings and sleep quality. For the heart, though, it can also create a sense of safety, companionship, and emotional closure at the end of a long day. For dogs, the meaning may be even more personal. They are not thinking in abstract theories about sleep hygiene. They are responding to closeness, scent, predictability, and trust. They are choosing the place where their nervous system feels calm enough to let go. That is what makes this so powerful. Not because sleeping with your dog is automatically good or automatically bad, but because it reveals that love is not always clean or clinical. Sometimes love is messy, warm, slightly disruptive, deeply comforting. Sometimes it means your sleep tracker says one thing, while your heart says another. So in this video, we're going to look beyond the simple idea of whether dogs should or should not sleep in your bed. We're going to explore what this nightly ritual may actually mean biologically, emotionally, and relationally. Because when a dog chooses to sleep beside you, the story may be bigger than comfort. It may be trust. It may be attachment. It may be one of the quietest ways love says goodnight. There is something almost ancient about the moment a dog climbs into bed beside you. It may feel like a modern habit, just a cozy little bedtime routine, but the bond underneath it is much older than that. Humans and dogs have lived alongside each other for thousands of years, and the evidence suggests this partnership goes back at least 15,000 years, long before modern homes, mattresses, or sleep advice existed. In those early relationships, closeness likely meant warmth, protection, and shared vigilance through the night. The guardian, and maybe that is why sleeping together can feel so powerful even now. Science does not say that every dog and human become perfectly synchronized the moment the lights go out. But it does show something deeply meaningful. Dogs and their owners often move towards shared rhythms. Research has found synchrony in sleep timing between dogs and the people they live with. Long-term stress levels can become linked across the relationship, and physiological co-modulation has been observed during interaction. In other words, living closely with a dog is not just emotional, it can become biological too. Sage journals. That makes bedtime more than a convenience. It becomes a trust ritual. For a dog, sleep is one of the most vulnerable states there is. The body softens. Awareness drops. Defense is lowered. So when a dog chooses to curl against your legs, settle near your chest, or sleep at the edge of your bed, they may be saying something much deeper than, "This blanket is nice." Research on attachment in dogs consistently shows that owners can function as a secure base and safe haven. And sleep studies have found that attachment toward the owner is associated with how dogs sleep and respond even in unfamiliar environments. That means closeness at night may reflect one of the deepest forms of emotional safety your dog can feel. PMC. And maybe that is the part people feel in their heart before they ever understand it with science. A bedtime cuddle is not just affection. It is the quiet reinforcement of, we belong together. It is the dog's nervous system learning again and again that this is where rest is safe. It is the human body ending the day with companionship instead of loneliness. It is an old pack instinct wearing a modern face, PMC. So, if your dog chooses to sleep beside you, maybe don't see it as just a habit. See it as a small nightly ceremony, a biological echo, a shared rhythm, a sign that somewhere deep inside your dog has decided, this is my safe place to let go. There's a reason so many people swear they sleep better with their dog in bed, even when the science tells a more complicated story. On the emotional side, co-sleeping can feel incredibly comforting. Your dog is warm, familiar, and deeply calming. But when researchers started measuring sleep more closely, they found something interesting. What we feel and what the body does are not always the same. In one actigraphy-based study, dog movement was linked to a much higher chance of the human shifting from stillness to movement during the night, even though many owners said their dog rarely or never disturbed their sleep. In fact, one summary of that same work found that about 65.6% of owners said their dog rarely or never disrupted their sleep. That's the paradox. Your heart may say, I slept peacefully, while your sleep pattern quietly tells another story. MDPI. And that may be because the brain is making a kind of emotional trade-off. We should be careful not to oversimplify it, as science has proven your brain chooses oxytocin over sleep. But we do know this positive dog-owner interaction has been linked to increases in oxytocin and reductions in stress-related states, and that kind of bonding can make closeness feel deeply worth it. So even if your dog's movements create small interruptions, the emotional comfort may soften how disruptive those awakenings feel in the moment. That helps explain why so many people continue the ritual night after night. It may not create perfect sleep continuity, but it can create a powerful sense of safety and belonging. PMC. The real issue is what happens to sleep architecture over time. Human sleep moves through cycles, and REM sleep typically first appears around 90 minutes after falling asleep. When the night is repeatedly broken into micro-awakenings, those cycles can become less smooth and less restorative. A 2024 nationally representative study found that co-sleeping with pets was associated with poorer perceived sleep quality and greater insomnia severity, especially for people sleeping with dogs. And more broadly, sleep fragmentation and insufficient sleep are linked to worse attention, more fatigue, and reduced mental sharpness the next day. So yes, sleeping with your dog may feel emotionally perfect and still carry a biological cost you don't fully notice until morning. NINS. And maybe that's the honest truth of it. Sleeping with your dog is not simply good or bad. It's a trade. A beautiful one sometimes. A costly one sometimes. And for many people, the bond at the end of the day feels worth more than perfect sleep metrics. If this helped you understand your nightly routine in a new way, please like, subscribe, and share this video with another dog lover. And I'd love to hear from you. Does your dog help you sleep better emotionally even if they steal a little sleep physically? Dogs rarely say stop, in a way humans expect. They almost never begin with a growl. They begin with whispers, a quick flick of the tail, a ripple across the skin, ears that suddenly pivot back, eyes that widen just a little, a tongue that slips out for one fast lick. These are not random habits. They are early signals. Quiet warnings. Your dog's way of saying, I'm not comfortable anymore. Please notice before I have to say it louder. And that moment matters more than most people realize, because when those signals are ignored again and again, stress doesn't simply disappear. It builds. Some trainers call it stress debt, a slow emotional accumulation that can show up later as shutdown reactivity illness or what people describe as sudden aggression. But very often, it was never sudden. The dog had been speaking softly for a long time. We just didn't recognize the language. That's why the pause is so powerful. When you stop the interaction, the moment your dog shows discomfort, you teach something profound. You do not need to escalate to be heard. Your dog learns that their body is respected, that their signals work, that being honest is safe, and over time that changes the relationship in a beautiful way. Because trust is not built only through affection. It is built through restraint. Sometimes love is petting your dog, and sometimes love is knowing exactly when to stop. That's the part many people miss. A safe owner is not the one who touches the most, pushes the most, or demands the most closeness. A safe owner is the one who notices the whisper before it becomes a cry. So the next time your dog gives you one of those tiny signals, pause. Really pause. In that moment, you are not losing connection. You are protecting it. If this helped you understand your dog a little more deeply, please like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who truly loves their dog. And in the comments, tell me what subtle stop signal have you noticed in your own dog. Sleeping with your dog can feel like one of the sweetest parts of the entire relationship. At the end of a hard day, they curl up beside you. Your breathing slows down, and the room feels a little less lonely. And honestly, that feeling is real. Science has long suggested that close contact with dogs can help lower stress, reduce cortisol, and even support lower blood pressure. For some people, especially those who live alone or carry a lot of daily anxiety, having a dog nearby at night does not just feel comforting. It feels regulating, almost like the body finally gets permission to exhale. There is also a fascinating side to this that many people don't expect. Some researchers have explored what is often called the hygiene hypothesis. The idea that early exposure to the microorganisms animals bring into a home may help train the immune system, especially in childhood. In simple terms, living closely with a dog may not always be a dirty thing in the negative sense people imagine. In some cases, it may actually help the body become more adaptable. But this is where the story becomes more honest and more important. Because comfort does not erase biology. Dogs can absolutely bring things into bed that you may not want there: bacteria from outdoors, environmental allergens in their coat, dander, saliva, and in some cases, even parasites if their healthcare is not well managed. So the emotional benefits are real, but so are the hygiene risks. This does not mean sleeping with your dog is wrong. It means it should be a conscious choice, not an automatic one. Good flea prevention, clean bedding, regular grooming, and paying attention to your own allergies matter more than people think. And then there is temperature, which many owners overlook completely. Dogs naturally run warmer than humans. Their body temperature is higher, which makes them feel like a little living heater on a cold winter night. In the colder months, that can feel wonderful, cozy, grounding, deeply comforting. But in summer, that same warmth can become a problem. The human body sleeps best when it cools down slightly, and a hot dog pressed against your legs or chest can interfere with that cooling process. So the same dog that feels like peace in January may feel like a furnace in July. And maybe that is the real truth of sleeping with your dog. It is not simply good or bad. It is intimate, comforting, biologically complex, and deeply personal. For some people, it supports emotional well-being. For others, it quietly affects sleep quality, allergies, or nighttime comfort. So the healthiest approach is not blind guilt or blind romance. It is awareness. Love your dog deeply, but also pay attention to what helps both of you rest well. If this gave you a new perspective, like, subscribe, and share this video with another dog lover. And tell me in the comments, does your dog make your bed feel more peaceful or more crowded? One of the biggest myths about dogs sleeping in bed is that if they growl over their spot, it means they're trying to dominate you. But that's not what the evidence suggests. AKC notes that co-sleeping itself does not make a dog dominant. What it can do is highlight an existing behavior problem, especially resource guarding. In some dogs, the bed becomes something valuable enough to defend, and that can show up as stiffening, staring, growling, or even snapping when someone approaches. Resource guarding is not a power game in the human sense. It's a dog protecting something they see as important. American Kennel Club. And that's why boundaries matter. If your dog sleeps in your bed, it helps to think of the bed as an invitation-only zone, not a permanent right. AKC specifically recommends that owners decide when and where the dog is allowed on the bed, and also provide an alternative sleeping area nearby in case the dog chooses to leave. That matters because a healthy relationship is not built on letting the dog win. It's built on predictability, safety, and mutual comfort. A dog who knows the rules clearly is often a calmer dog, not a more frustrated one. American Kennel Club. But here's the part many owners miss. Sometimes a dog refusing the bed is not behavioral at all. It may be physical. AKC's arthritis guidance notes that dogs in pain may show difficulty or reluctance to stand up, climb stairs, or jump onto a bed or couch. So if your dog suddenly stops joining you at night, that may not mean they feel distant or less attached. It may mean the jump hurts, the landing feels risky, or the body simply can't manage the movement comfortably anymore. In older dogs, especially a bed refusal can be one of those subtle changes that deserves compassion, not hurt feelings. American Kennel Club. There's also a sensory side to this. Dogs experience scent with extraordinary intensity. VCA explains that dogs can smell 1000 to 10000 times better than people, and even mild aromas can be overwhelming to them. So a bed that smells strongly of detergent, fabric spray, or fragrance may feel clean to you, but too much to your dog. And while mattress instability isn't a formally defined diagnosis, it's a reasonable practical factor too if the surface shifts, sinks, or slides under them. Some dogs simply may not feel secure enough to settle there. VCA. So maybe the deeper lesson is this. When it comes to where your dog sleeps, don't read everything as love or rejection. Sometimes it's about trust. Sometimes it's about comfort. Sometimes it's about pain. And sometimes it's just your dog trying to choose the place that feels safest in their body. If this gave you a new way to understand your dog, please like, subscribe, and share this video with another dog lover. And I'd love to hear from you. Does your dog sleep on the bed by choice, by invitation, or not at all? In the end, this may be the most honest answer of all. There is no single correct rule for every dog, every owner, or every bedroom. Some people sleep with their dogs in bed every night and would never want it any other way. Some keep their dog in the room but not on the bed, and others sleep better with the bedroom door closed. None of those choices automatically make someone more loving or less connected. What matters most is not the trend, it is the fit. Because the real question is not, what do most people do? The real question is, what helps both you and your dog feel safe, rested, and well? That is where the science and the heart finally meet. If your dog sleeps in bed with you, and both of you rest well, that can be a beautiful ritual of trust and closeness. If your dog sleeps better in their own bed beside you, that can be just as loving. And if you need more uninterrupted sleep for your own health setting, that boundary does not mean the bond is weaker. It simply means you are making a thoughtful choice for the well-being of both lives in the room. That said, if you do choose to share a bed, it helps to do it with awareness. Keep the bedding clean. Wipe your dog's paws before bed. Stay consistent with flea and tick prevention. Pay attention to allergies, skin issues, or changes in your sleep quality. And most importantly, notice your dog's comfort too. Are they settling peacefully? Are they guarding the bed? Are they jumping up less because they're in pain? Are they choosing closeness or simply tolerating the routine? These details matter because love is not just about letting a dog stay close. It is about noticing whether closeness is truly working for both of you. And maybe that is the most beautiful thing about this whole conversation. Sleeping with your dog is not a test of love. It is simply one of many ways love can show up. On the bed. beside the bed, at the bedroom door. What matters is not the exact location. What matters is the feeling underneath it: safety, trust, comfort, and connection. So, if your dog sleeps near you in any form, don't rush to measure the relationship by a rulebook. Pay attention to the quieter truth. Your dog is choosing the place where their body feels calm enough to rest. And that in itself is a kind of love. If this video gave you a new perspective, please like, subscribe, and share it with another dog lover. And in the comments, I'd love to know, where does your dog sleep at night, and why do you think that spot feels safest to them?